Hello, it's John Heaton, and sorry, the camera's a bit fragile today, so I'm here with my friend Andrew Brooks again.
Hello again.
So we're going to do the second instalment in the B-side discussion, which I started a week or so ago, and I did She's a Woman, and I put it at number 5, and now we're going to review Old Brown Shoe, which I put at number 6. I don't know if you wanted to say where you would rank it amongst the 12.
I quite like this song, so I'd probably go a little bit higher than 6, probably about 4 or 5. I think it's a very decent song, but we'll come on to
All right.
other thoughts.
So recorded on the 16th and 18th of April 1969, B-side of Ballads of John and Yoko. This was a nice picture sleeve I picked up, not a UK picture sleeve, I forget.
It's a reissue.
Oh, it's a reissue one,
1980, whatever.
Yeah, okay. It doesn't look like a 60s one, does it?
No. And of course the American one had different pictures.
Speak up a bit.
Sorry, the American one did have different pictures. It had the Linda McCartney shots from Cavendish Avenue, which I believe had Yoko also included in the...
Yeah, I think that was the front cover,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's
so
right. With
it's a bit small, as you can see it, this picture here, taken in Paul's garden in Cavendish Avenue, and yeah, they don't look too happy to be posing with Yoko, well, particularly George. Ringo's managing a smile, Paul's kind of half smiling, and George is looking pretty miserable.
Maybe should eat one of his digestives.
Biscuits, yeah. And from that same session, this is from Cavendish.
That's right, yeah.
Taking out the window.
First floor window.
So that was one, and then the thumbnail to this video is going to be another one, which was taken in the garden where they're sitting next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yoko's not in that one.
Yes.
So, and those photos were from April '69, finally released on the 30th of May '69. It's gone down pretty well amongst fans. Critics, well, I was reading Carr and Tyler, and they were reviewing the Ballad of John and Yoko single, and they don't even mention Old Brown Shoe.
Really?
They don't even mention it. So that probably says something about their opinion.
Wow. Yeah.
Mark Lewison is interesting in this book.
There's a bit of controversy about musicianship. And
so we're not quite sure who played what. We do know that it started off with Paul on tack piano, John on rhythm guitar, Ringo on drums, and lead guitar and vocals George. But then on the 18th of April, they wiped, they put a Hammond organ overdub, and in the process John's rhythm guitar track got wiped. So his only contribution, we think, is to sing those backing vocals, Who Loves You.
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting. The other controversy is, do you want to talk about the other controversy?
What, the actual production of it?
Who plays the bass?
Oh, with the George and the Paul. George has said later that it was actually him playing the bass.
Yeah.
We was having a discussion, would Paul have been so generous as to give up bass playing to George?
But then the only track that he's ever done that on.
He's doing the piano work as well, so, you know.
Well, if George did do it himself, he overdubbed, because basically it's lead guitar and the bass playing the same notes, so you get that unique bass sound. Mark Lewison reckons it's George and Paul playing together. The interviewer in '87 said it sounds like Paul going nuts on the bass, and George said, no, it's me going nuts on the bass. So I guess it would be, instead of asking Paul these boring questions, why don't we ask him stuff like, not us, but like, why don't interviewers ask things like that? Or maybe he can't remember either.
Wow.
But it would be uncharacteristic for him to give up the bass part. What else to say? The production.
The producer, it's credited to George Martin, but I do believe there was a couple of engineers there. I did read somewhere earlier today, Glyn Johns, and I can't remember who the other one was now. But.
Well, Richard Lush is there, Jeff Jarrett. I thought Chris Thomas is there for the second section. And actually, Chris Thomas is credited as the producer of the second session. So I'm wondering why George Martin got the end producer credit for this.
And that could explain why, as John and I was talking about a couple of days ago when we was discussing this, about how muddy how the sound is quite muffled, not muffled, but it's quite bogged down. Everything seems to be on top of one another as far as I was concerned. The vocal's not a very clean vocal.
And it's not high enough in the mix, is it?
No. As I say, it all sounds very muddy. And it doesn't sound like a George Martin production.
Well, if we were to believe Lewison, and I would rather believe him than MacDonald, because he got to listen to all of the Abbey Road tapes. George Martin producing the session on the 16th, Chris Thomas producing the session on the 18th. Interesting, George Martin had produced the Ballad of John and Yoko 2 days before the first session for Old Brown Shoe. But either way, the production lacks something. It's not terrible.
No,
but it's
almost as if he could have given this song to Jackie Lomax, because it's sort of a similar sort of sound to Sour Milk Sea, that sort of sound.
I think actually the musicianship of the Beatles carries the song and makes it better than it probably is as a song. Because I don't think as a song, as a melody, it's anything to write home.
I mean, I haven't actually heard, because they apparently started rehearsing it in January.
Yeah, January the 27th, 69.
Oh, I don't think I've heard that.
No, we haven't heard. I don't think anything's come out about that. We do have an early version of Old Brown Shoe coming out on the Abbey Road box in a few weeks, so that should be interesting. It was written on the piano, unusually for George. Not too many songs he wrote on the piano, I don't think. This one that comes to mind, and also Grey Cloudy Lies from Extra Texture. Can you think of any others?
I can't, not off the top of my head. No.
So he performed it live in 91 with Eric Clapton, and he performed it live at the Albert Hall in 92 on the 6th of April.
We were there.
We were there. Second row. George's only UK concert. And I've just realised it was on my son Richie's birthday, 8 years before he was born.
Wow.
So
I rate that as one of the best concerts that I've ever been to, Beatle-wise anyway.
Yeah, because we were right at the front, and Ringo came on at the end.
And I mean, George concert, who would have thought, to hear him do all those songs that you've heard on vinyl and records all those years. Anyway, we're straying.
All those years ago was a highlight for me in that concert, and I could have sworn I made eye contact with him during the line that they're shouting all about God. He's the only reason we exist. I could swear he looked at me during that line. Wow. I guess thousands of other people thought the same.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was performed pretty well live. I don't think the Japan version is any great shakes. Didn't do it on the 74 tour, which is the only other tour we did. So Gary Brooker did a version of it at the concert for George, quite creditable. But I think the highlights for this song for me are that bass line, whoever's playing it, or it kind of dominates the production.
The words as well. When you study the actual lyrics, they're almost kind of mirroring a McCartney "Hello Goodbye" sort of thing to start with, and then it sort of meanders away from that a little bit to go on talking about escaping from this zoo. Could that mean like the Beatles circus, so to speak? And everything's dragging him down. They're not listening to his music. Who knows? But
and we think it's probably written about Patty, but maybe there's a bit of a reference to his friend Eric Clapton in there somewhere,
helping him to escape the zoo, maybe.
Yeah. I just want to read you something which someone was complaining that George Harrison only got the B-side of this release, and he quotes. I don't agree with it, but I thought it would be interesting for you to hear. In any other band, this upbeat boogie that matched lyrical sophistication with another outstanding guitar break would have taken precedence over the rough, self-serving travelogue that was the Ballad of John and Yoko. Harrison's song works on any level, in any context, while the Lennon piece could only have relevance within the Beatles' self-referential sphere. This kind of glaring anomaly forced George Harrison out of the Beatles. What a load of codswallop.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Beatles records is bands would give right hand to have a song as good as their B-sides as a single. I mean, this is a prime example, and Walrus, and if a band came up with that would be their A-side. But
Yeah, it is a great B-side, but I don't think it's better than the A-side.
no.
We agreed on that?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It could have been a single on its own.
But I think the more commercial number of the two is the Ballad of John and Yoko with its catchy chorus. And anyway,
Christ, you know it ain't easy.
yeah, got banned, of course, so, which meant it didn't do very well in America.
That's probably why
But,
they played the B-side.
Both sides of this single made it onto the Blue album.
Yeah.
In the case of Old Brown Shoe, mildly controversial choice, or I don't think so.
No,
but I remember my brother thinking, "What the hell's Old Brown Shoe doing on the Blue album?" But anyway, he wasn't George's biggest fan.
No, I think it's a great track. I really do. I just
Yeah.
wish that we could get a nice, clean, unmuddy version of it.
Well, maybe after Giles has done, he's still got to work backwards and do all the other albums after Let It Be, isn't he? But then he could get around to doing the singles.
You're going to have to wait to the 60th anniversary for those, I think.
Yeah. All right, well, that was Old Brown Shoe.
Yeah.
And Baby, I'm in Love with You and all that. Good stuff. Thank you for watching. See you next time.
Bye.